Hello and welcome back to another weekly episode of On Repeat, the podcast with me, Hattie Winter.
And me, Ellie Rashid.
This week we're speaking to singer-songwriter Brooke Bentham. Originally from South Shields, Newcastle, she's now in London. Her music has been described as formidable, bewitching and austerely beautiful by people such as The Times, Line of Best Fit and DIY, which is something we totally agree with.
You can hear that actually with the music in the background here, Brooke's lovely sounds. And her latest album, actually, if you want to hear more of those sounds, Everyday Nothing, chronicles the mundanity and inertia of life as an artist post-graduation. The album showcases her vulnerable music and lyrics, which are both personal and relatable, and her sounds are mixed between rock and folk.
But it's not all doom and gloom. In this episode, Brooke talks to us about overcoming writer's block, learning to perform and being part of people's formative years, which is a really important mark for an artist. We get an insight into the realities of working in the gig industry and how difficult it is to promote yourself as a breakthrough artist. Plus, she tells us, I think pretty early on into the interview, just who is Oliver, which is one of her most played songs on Spotify. I think it's got like 2 million plays.
I just really wanted to know who he was.
Yeah,
I just went straight in. Like, all this time, I've just been singing "The Last Time I Saw Oliver," thinking, who on earth is he? So this was our chance.
Who did you see last
I mean,
time?
this is the real reason we got Brooke on. Just
exactly.
wanted her to broadcast this. So anyway, you know exactly what to do. You know the drill. We're going to keep it on repeat with the lovely Brooke Bentham.
Hello, I'm Brooke Bentham. I did music, drama and English my A-levels, and I'm a musician from Newcastle.
You are.
And tonight, Paddy.
Shit, Brooke, how you doing?
I'm alright, yeah. Same old.
So for listeners who don't know, Brooke, Hattie and I actually lived in the same block when we all moved to London. The same block of halls at
Loring Hall till I die.
Oh yeah.
And wait, were you two in the same flat?
Same floor.
Same floor.
So there was 16 people on our floor. Honestly, I don't know how we lived like that.
We had a massive kitchen.
Actually, no, I had a boyfriend at the time on one of the floors. I don't even know.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Such a stroll down memory lane.
I know.
R.I.P. relationship.
Au revoir.
Talking about past lovers or maybe lovers. Who's Oliver?
Oh
Oh,
wow,
wow,
that
that's
is a deep cut.
I just thought I'd fire it right back.
It was, you know what it is though? I wrote that song when I was like 15, 16, so it was like literally about some guy that I had a thing with when I was like in sixth form. And then I named it after my first crush. But he wasn't actually the guy that the song was about.
Oh,
Nice. I like it.
Yeah, man.
Did
Well,
he
I
have
wasn't going to name him, was I? Name and shame.
yeah. I would just imagine this guy called Oliver listen to it like Brooke, like writes the kind of like have a Stormzy Wiley like dialogue and reply in 24
Yeah.
hours. Brooke.
I mean, I kind of love that. I'd love to have a beef. Don't you think that would just be like a
Ooh.
really fun time?
Yeah. Who would you have a beef with? Who would be your dream beef person?
Oh my gosh.
This is like a typical on repeat question.
Yes.
I don't know. Do you know? Do you ever listen to Adam Buxton's podcasts?
Yeah.
I think I'd have a good beef with Adam Buxton. Do you not think he'd be really funny if you had a beef with him? He'd write a little song about you.
Yeah. Oh my god, with his dog.
He'd do a jingle.
Oh my god.
Because I mean, like Adam Buxton's kind of like he's so like jingly, isn't he? On his podcast, it's all like everywhere, and I feel like your style, like both aesthetically and musically, is so like consistent, and like I'm Brooke, but then like when you speak, like when we're speaking to you and knowing you, I don't imagine like moody Brooke. I imagine Brooke with a pint, like all right, everyone.
Oh my god!
All right, Buxton.
Yeah, exactly.
So I can actually see this little battle going on.
Brooke v. Buxton.
If I actually have a beef with Adam Buxton, I'd be amazed.
That's such a good answer. I wasn't even expecting that, like I was expecting you to say like someone
that we actually
within
know.
like Laura Marling.
Yeah, I had Laura Marling as well.
I feel like Laura Marling would just be too above the beef. She'd just be there in her white and like her collar, just like.
Yeah.
I think she'd have better things to do.
Yeah.
And really, that's the whole point of the beef.
Yeah.
Because
Like,
why
look
is
after
she
her
above
plans.
the beef? No one's above the beef.
No one should be above the beef, Laura.
No. It's the true equalizer of man
Yeah.
and woman.
Yes.
Beef. Beef indeed.
I don't know how we got to this place, guys.
I don't know, but I love it.
Yeah.
Great. Can you remember the first song you ever wrote?
Yes, it was horrendous. I think I'd like literally just lifted Paolo Nutini's chords from a song and put some like horrible lyrics over the top of it. I've still got like all. I've probably still got my lyric book. Shall I read you the first lyric?
Oh, please.
Yes, definitely. Please do.
Wow. Right, here we go. Exactly. Oh, here it is.
I'm so excited.
Yeah. Open your eyes. You're sure to get a big surprise. Look outside your window. It's raining and it's terribly cold, but oh. And that's literally all I wrote. That is the entire song. Like, you can see I only did one verse for this.
It's pretty, do you know what? It's not even bad. Like, it's better than my songs I was writing.
Yeah, I mean, come on. It's 10 years on. I'm better.
You would, yeah, exactly. No, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. So, are you playing the guitar before that? At the same time? Always been playing?
I was playing the guitar. Yeah, I started playing the guitar before I started writing songs. I just taught myself by playing like Taylor Swift and Damien Rice songs.
Which Taylor Swift songs?
Crazier. Yeah, I was never like hugely into her, but for some reason decided to start with her songs on the guitar.
Yeah. Was there like a reason for it? Just
I think
just like convenient.
I think they were just like the easiest songs to play. If you go on like there's a website called Ultimate Guitar, which is basically how I learned, and they have like top 100 popular songs on the front page. So I probably just immediately went to that and picked out the vaguest song that I know.
Well, it's put you in good stead.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely has.
But your songs have been on like quite a few famous playlists, and actually it was just when Spotify was starting to label their playlists as different things outside genre. So there was one called like Coffee Break that I think you were on.
Yeah.
And they've got like all sorts, like we were saying, like Lost in the Woods and like Lost in the Jungle and whatever. And I find that quite interesting that someone would put your music in that kind of category. What category would you put your music in?
Oh, I don't know.
It can be something really stupid.
I really don't know. Maybe like night drives or something.
Night drives. That's interesting. Asked Josh a similar question, and he said Journey.
Ooh.
It's like, yeah, music to
drive.
travel to.
Yeah, music.
I
to
just
travel
think,
to.
like, have you ever been, like, we just got a car again, like a little old banger, recently, and then we were on the M1, whatever the motorways are called these days, and, like, it was dark, and we had a CD on, and I was like, oh my god, isn't this amazing? I just love driving in the car at night with music on. So cinematic.
In a movie.
Yeah.
I love it.
I feel like that is, interestingly, that seems to be a time where people connect with music quite a lot, especially when people are driving on their own.
Yeah.
I wonder if that becomes quite a melting pot for ideas, actually, thinking about it. And maybe it's that similar thing just in general traveling, because I think we even spoke to Harrison about this as well. That idea of like being on a train and maybe like coming away from London or something like that, and just sort of having your own soundtrack as if you're almost in a film.
Yeah.
Maybe that's too sentimental.
No, I
Maybe.
think it's totally valid. Like I remember, like, especially when like, how old was I when, like, I got an iPod? I can't even remember. Like, maybe like I had like a little MP3 player, so like maybe 10. And I can still remember the first time I listened to music on headphones. Like, it's such a great experience. I just love music though, so
yeah. No, I totally agree. And actually thinking about like the type of music that you write, like for me, it's something that I don't know if you have the same thing, Hattie, actually, but it's something that I often come back to and sort of at different points in my life, and it always seems to sort of mark things really clearly. So I can really remember certain times from that kind of music. Laura Marling's a massive one for me as well.
yeah.
And Brooke, some of your music does it as well. Just
really?
you know, like listening to some of your songs really takes me back to a certain time, and it's the sort of thing I would actually have on repeat.
Yeah.
I would have it on repeat. And I'm sure that you've had that as well with certain artists. I don't know, like, do you have artists you have that with?
Yeah,
I don't know,
definitely. I think, but like I have like some artists that have stuck with me from when I first heard them that I still listen to. I still like my favorite bands, and then, like, as you say, there's bands that I listened to when I was like 15 that take me back to being 15, or like, do you know what I mean? But I was actually, I learned like last year or something that apparently you're most, you remember the period of your life, like the music in your life, most between the ages of like 14 to 19.
Okay.
So
Really?
it's already past for us guys, but
Yeah.
apparently that's when music is like the most impactful for you.
Yeah. I suppose they are quite formative years.
Yeah. And like, if you think about like going to gigs and stuff when you were younger, it was such a experience.
What would you say yours was? Like a song or an artist around those developmental years?
What, that like stuck with me? Or definitely Bon Iver, for sure.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, good shout.
Actually.
Yeah. I mean, like, they're still one of my favourite bands, but it's like that second album that is just always will be one of my favourite albums, you know?
Nice. I think I have to say, like, whether it's a good thing or bad thing, I don't know, Daughter.
Yeah.
As well, like around.
You guys are
that
much cooler
time.
than me. Much cooler.
Sorry?
What would you say?
Much
yours
cooler
is like?
choices than me. I feel like my formative years are made up of like Panic at the Disco.
Yes.
Fallout Boy.
Yeah.
Yes.
And like loads of like I was like a proper scene kid and emo kid, so it was just loads of stuff like that.
Yeah.
Gavin Dance.
Not
Arctic
stuff on the
Monkeys.
Now CDs then.
I know, yeah. Oh, like Arctic Monkeys, yeah, definitely.
Oh
I
yeah,
like-
even now I'll still put them on. They just
Sometimes though, I think of those things like they're pretty decent, but also I have so many like memories like that of actual shit music.
Yeah.
Like I realize this is subjective, but I remember my mum used to have this. I hated it so much. Oh, like she used to play this CD in her car of Radio 1 Live lounge covers, and they were just there was that time where covers were actually so popular. On
Yeah,
music,
that's
like,
so true.
Yeah.
everyone was getting their guitar out and doing a YouTube cover of something.
Yeah.
And at the time, I can't remember which year it was, but at the time, the artists were not good. They were just celebrities. So like Cheryl Cole was covering Fireflies.
Yes,
Oh,
I
fucking
remember.
hell.
I remember
Oh
this
my
specific
God.
CD. I know exactly what you're talking
Do you
about.
know the one?
Yeah.
So
So bad.
so in a weird way, bad music, or at least, sorry, what I think is not the best music,
Yeah.
can actually mark a time in your life. It's like same with like Youth and Daughter, like that song. Like I don't know if it's my favorite song in the world, to be honest, but yeah, it does really like take you back. Do you ever think it's weird how? Because I'm pretty sure about this. Like I'm gonna make this sort of statement. I'm pretty sure. I think that for some people, your songs will have been the equivalent.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lovely thought, isn't it?
I think
I actually
so.
think about this quite often. I'm like, I wonder, because when I did the Sam Fender tour, there's a lot of teenagers there, and I'm like, because I was thinking about that thing again of like being young and like having that be the most impactful years. I was like, I wonder if like because you know how you think of some bands that you listen to when you're a teenager and now you just like would never listen to. I'm like, I wonder if that I would ever be that to someone. I'd love to not be that, to be honest, but I just wonder if I would be.
I don't think you will. I'm not just saying that. I don't think you will, and I think it's because it's not like. I think
Cheesy
music's
indie
quite.
pop.
It's quite timeless. What you're making, rather than like there's a reason that we don't listen to like emo.
Yeah.
That
True.
like Fall Out Boy, because it was a time then, but what you're making isn't really
Yeah.
marked by that.
I guess so, yeah. Just sounded like I was fishing for a compliment there, didn't it? Yeah,
I took the bait. No, but that is a really nice thought, to be part of someone's formative years.
Yeah, it is really nice, yeah.
People like sneaking out.
I think that
taking
was
their, like,
I know
cider.
that was the big thing about that Sam Fender tour though, because there was literally so many teenagers, and I was like, my music is not for teenagers. This is not going to go down well. But it was all right. Like I got a lot of like people from it, so it's nice.
What do you think music that is for teenagers sounds like?
Oh no, I can't explain this. I don't know. Every teenager's different, because I think about like what I was listening to. I think the big thing for us when we were teenagers, probably we had Tumblr, and that isn't around now. I found a lot of music through Tumblr. Like I actually have found so much good music through that website. Like I found Yola Tango, and that was when I was like 15. So I'm like, teenagers like have good taste in music. Sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I guess the equivalent now is TikTok.
I was gonna say.
Yeah. But
So
like,
it's-
I downloaded TikTok the other day, and I was just like immediately deleted it because I was like, what is going on?
I'm addicted.
Are you?
So
Honestly,
I'm on the fence.
I went on it, and I was like, I cannot work this. What do you search for?
I just don't. I don't use it properly. I am like an old person being like, I'll have an account, but I won't put anything on it.
Yeah,
And I'm just
yeah.
addicted to scrolling. But
Yeah.
I guess Tumblr. I mean, also for me, my Tumblr. I love Tumblr so much, but like MySpace, I used to know so many bands off of MySpace.
Yeah, you'd have your like little music page on the front, wouldn't you?
With
Your
the
little
auto
theme
playing
song.
music.
Yes.
Why would anyone do that? Why would anyone put someone through? Oh my god, it's so wrong.
Do you
I
know what
found
I
that-
used to do? I didn't actually. I wasn't allowed. I wasn't allowed MySpace or Bebo or anything like that.
Oh my
but
God,
what I used
Bebo.
to,
To be
Bebo.
fair, probably better for you.
I was
Better
gonna
off.
say, much better.
I don't know, because I didn't have any of those things, but I could recite and still can recite the whole llama song. So I was on.
What's the llama song?
Here's a llama, there's a llama, and another little llama. Fuzzy llama, funny llama, 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 duck. You don't want to know the rest.
What is that? I've never heard that.
So I
before.
was
Never
around,
heard
probably on Miniclip as well. But the other way in which I got
I'm
my sort of
shocked.
music fix, if you can, apart from like Bluetoothing things on the back of the bus.
Oh my god, infrared.
Yeah,
That's a wild
all of
concept.
that. I used to put. I don't know if you used to do this as well. Did you used to put song lyrics up on your MSN?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
bracket.
What
Oh
were your
my
song
God.
lyrics?
I can't remember. It was like I did find my MySpace playlist the other day, and it was like a lot of
Did you?
Never Say
Carry
Never.
on.
Do you remember that way? Was it? Oh, it's like Never Say Never. No, shout. Never Shout Never or something. I can't remember the name of them, but I listened back to it on YouTube because the MySpace thing doesn't work anymore, and I was just like, I can't believe I used to listen to this.
So loud.
Yeah.
Such noise. Oh god.
It's like, who wants that to go onto a website and have music like blasting at you?
It's cruel. It's really cruel. God.
But I guess
don't know
like
what my mind's-
I guess if you've got your Instagram stories on now, it's kind of the same thing, isn't it? There's nothing more jarring than like sitting in a room with someone playing their Instagram stories or TikToks out loud. It's just like a different sound every 5 seconds.
Yeah, it's a bit of an overload, like a sensory overload.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always
Yeah.
get quite embarrassed if I don't have my headphones on. I'm like, oh god, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It's just like the same TikTok song going like over and over.
I know.
Or like if you go to the loo and you put your phone down, you're like, don't mind me.
Yeah.
It's just gonna play for 10 seconds on a loop for an hour. I not that I'm in the bathroom for an hour, but yeah. Oh my god.
Does it ever feel difficult as a musician when we're in a world with such like sensory overload? Does it ever feel difficult to sort of not feel lost in it all when there are so many artists, there are so many upcoming like amazing people of all sorts of genres? Is it ever hard?
Yeah, man. It's literally it's never easy.
Yeah.
No, I mean at this particular year, I think it's just so hard for new artists now. I think unless you've got like I mean, if you're on a major label, you're pretty much like you're gonna get so much advertising, so you're kind of okay. But I don't know, like even like logging onto Instagram just gives me anxiety now. Like I'm like, I don't know, there's just so much, isn't it? And like every time I post something now, I just get extreme anxiety over posting anything. I don't know, it's so hard to like, because you have to like over promote yourself so much, and I'm just not about that life. It's like you have to basically constantly be like, hey, look at me, look what I've been doing, listen to my music. I don't know.
Do you do that yourself? Is that like a sort of DIY? Is your social media DIY, or do you have like a manager who helps you with stuff? Or
Well, I've actually not had a manager since February, and I've had one before that since like first year of uni. So like this is the longest I've been without a manager basically, and it's quite nice actually not having anyone to like police what you're doing and I don't know, checking up on you all the time, especially because I've got nothing really going on at the minute. Like there's nothing to check up on, so I don't really feel like I need, obviously I'm gonna need one at some point, but other than that, like all my like socials and myself, like my label will be like can you post about this and stuff, but other than that I post myself. You can probably tell if you look at my Instagram, I don't really post that much.
No, but it's pretty honest and it's pretty you.
yeah,
And I mean, Ellie and I were talking about this beforehand, and your songwriting is quite vulnerable, I'd say. And I think this kind of Instagram world is also quite vulnerable. Do you reckon it's just all a big vulnerable state to be in? I don't even know if that's really a question or just a kind of.
Well, it's like
statement.
I don't know, because you write songs and then they're written, then you do a demo for them. So by the time I finish the demo, I'm like already disattached to the meaning of it because I've spent so long just figuring out what I want it to sound like. And then I record it and I'm like, okay, that's a song now. I've got no like actual attachment to the meaning of it or whatever. And then you're kind of like, when you like put the album actually out, you're like, these songs, you kind of reflect on it a bit more and you think more about what you wrote them about and stuff like that. But I don't know, like as soon as the song's written, it's written for me. Like I don't really think about the contents of it.
That's quite interesting.
Mm.
It's kind of like a separatism.
Yeah.
God, I wish I had that. I wish I could do that. Anything. Yeah, that sounds like a good kind of like. I think other than that, you just end up like dwelling on things.
Yeah. But like, yeah, but also like, I just do not have an interesting life, so I don't really have that much like going on to write about. I've said it so many times, but
do you feel like the same when you're actually performing as well? Because I remember seeing you like live ages ago. I think it was in, I want to say Islington.
oh, was that the Islington, the little pub on the corner?
I
Is it a
feel.
Green Pub.
Were you there, Hattie?
I did see you once
Did you?
or twice. Yeah,
It
I'm
was
sure I
literally
did.
like luring.
Yeah.
Was it?
And we went. It was like
Yeah.
in first year, I think. And I went. I remember seeing you for the first time, and just your performing matches your songwriting. It's so vulnerable. So it's crazy that you can detach yourself like that. I mean, I guess I guess without trying to sort of be your therapist or psychoanalyze you at all. Like it's free. Yeah, it's just it's interesting to sort of to know you. It was I just thought it was weird sort of knowing who you are and knowing that you come straight off the stage like as you did, as I expected, and just be like, do you like it? like with a pint, like yeah. Like and yeah, but just seeing like this really like vulnerable work and vulnerable delivery as well. It was extraordinary. I wonder, do you feel like being on stage is a sort of space where you feel safe or vulnerable, or do you feel like it's a part of you or just a part of you that you're able to perform or express?
I think at the minute I've not really found my like favorite space yet to perform. Like it's quite, I don't know, it's quite difficult to describe, but I've done a lot of support tours and it's like that's not your crowd, and so like that you have to try and win them over. And I think to playing a show, it's more, there's more vulnerability there because you have to like also like entertain in between the songs, which I'm terrible at. Oh my god, I'm so bad at it. But then I do love performing because you can actually, that's the chance that you can actually get to feel those feelings about the song, because you're actually playing them and you can like perform them. But I do love performing and I really miss it. I just like, I feel like I didn't get enough of a chance to actually figure out what my space is, though, you know.
That's
That makes
interesting.
That makes sense. Is that because of what's happened this year?
Yeah, I mean, we were gonna like, it was, I released my album in February and then it's gonna be like a headline tour in the UK, which I think would have been great because that was actually like people who'd listened to the album and like who knew me, and like it was gonna be just fun. But now I'm kind of like, I've got like, they've been rearranged to June next year and I'm like, are they gonna even happen in June, and are people even gonna remember the album at that point? You know what I mean? So rubbish at the minute, but oh well. There are worse things.
How do you learn to kind of find your right space? How do you?
I guess just by playing loads of shows, playing loads more shows, and because I just don't feel like I've got comfortable enough or like being consistent enough with shows to learn how to speak to people. Because I'm like, I don't know, like especially since leaving uni, I'm definitely more of a introvert, and I'm especially like after like lockdown as well, I'm so bad at speaking to people now.
Oh, interesting.
So I don't know, I think it'll be it's just, yeah, you just got to play loads of shows, and then you get more comfortable, don't you? And you kind of like, oh, this again.
And
So would you say you're someone who kind of feeds off other people's and like social energy, or do you need to be around other people, or do you prefer your own space, or do you like the balance? Or
I much prefer. I mean, I like playing with my band, and I've learned through the years that you have to be playing with people who are like enjoying playing the music, and I think that's the main important thing, is that you're all on the same page.
yeah,
Because then, like, it might be like a rubbish audience. I mean, not. I mean, they might just be a bit stale, but like, you can still have a fun show with your like friends on stage. So I think that's the most important bit, to be honest.
Definitely.
I guess
Definitely.
that's the same for writing, right? Because if the moment you stop enjoying writing, it's kind of like, what's the point? And I guess it must be so hard, especially if you're under pressure from labels and fans and maybe even yourself, to keep churning out tunes. Like, do you find that you get mental blocks ever?
Yeah, I mean, I did loads that year that we left uni. I was like, because I didn't really have anything to write about, because I wasn't going anywhere, I wasn't doing anything. There wasn't anything that I could really say. But I think now, actually after doing that first album, I'm pretty, it's weird, like, because as well, I think now that I'm working 2 other jobs and I only have like 1 or 2 days for writing, and like I have to use that time to write, so I'm a bit more disciplined.
Yeah.
And if I'm having a mental block, then I'll just like mess about all day, play other people's music for a bit, just to try and do something, you know.
That's actually quite a good tip. And you've also touched on something that I hadn't thought about so much properly, but I do you guys know Ella Egome?
I've heard of them,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, she has one of her gigs, actually, she was talking about just not being able to write, not being able to do anything, but I think it was more her putting pressure on herself to do it, because she felt like everyone was like, you're so good, you should be doing this, and just really not being able to. And I think that is so common when you're trying to figure out your career, whether it's before you go to uni, after school, or after uni. Like, that little limbo period is really tough, actually, and no one prepares you for that at all. No one talks about the implications on your mental health, on your writing, on anything really. And yet, I don't know how many songs have actually been written about that. Even. Like, there's not a lot of comfort, and especially when you feel like, I'm supposed to be in my prime. Yeah. I'm in London. I'm broke.
Yeah.
I haven't got any songs in the bag right now. I'm trying to like work all these jobs. It's hard. And then you get a virus on top of it.
I know. That's the thing though, isn't it? It's like, you got to work loads of part-time jobs to even afford, unless like you get out of uni and get a job straight away, like fine. But and then like also like just remember, like sometimes you just can't be bothered. Like it's so intense having to like be doing stuff all the time, but it's just like you can also just do nothing for a bit. It's fine. And to be honest, like I think in that time that I couldn't write, I just had to say it myself, like it's fine, just like have a bit of time off, because clearly it's not getting you anywhere trying to do anything. So
be a bit kinder to yourself. Who are you collaborating with next? Anyone on there? Anyone? Yeah.
No one.
Secrets you can tell.
Active face, just like come on.
I'm not actually collaborating with anyone at the minute. I actually don't really like it that much.
Interesting.
With my own writing, I prefer to write on my own. But I did my album I did with Bill Ryder Jones, and I wrote with him quite a lot. for the album. And I think because we have very similar music tastes and he's just like an amazing guitarist, that really worked. And we were also like, I think you have to get on a personal level. Like, we're basically brother and sister now. And like, because writing's such a personal thing, if it's awkward, I just don't think it would work, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I like, most of the time I just can't put myself into that frame of mind to like sit in a room with a random person and write a song.
Brooke Bentham, everyone. She doesn't collaborate. She just beefs. She just beefs.
Is that what I sound like? Oh no.
She's an anti-collaboration. She likes to just beef with Adam Buxton. Adam Buxton.
Makes sense though, right? It's just like other than that, it's just like a waste of time.
Yeah, that's a thing though, right? If I didn't have 2 part-time jobs on the side, I'd probably be well up for like writing with other people. But because my time is precious now, I like can't really be bothered to write with other people, to be honest.
Yeah, quality over quantity.
Yeah, totally.
What does a typical like writing day look like?
Well, I've had one today, so let me tell you.
Oh yeah.
Let me tell you my routine. I got up, had a coffee.
Nice.
I know I set up all my stuff. Now that we've got our own place, I've got all of my stuff set up, which is amazing, because when we were sharing before, I had to kind of, every time I wanted to write, I'd have to get everything out, and it's just like a pain in the ass. And then I don't know, I will kind of just sit on my guitar for a bit and like try and write a kind of verse of like just random lyrics, and then I'll just build it up if I get something on Logic, and then by the end of the day I should have like a demo of sorts,
some kind of formulated idea.
Yeah.
Do you start from like a starting point? Is there like a sort of, I don't know, like a theme that you seek out, or do you just really start like anywhere?
I think I just literally start anywhere. I think it all depends on what I'm listening to that week. Like, I've been listening to that new Fleet Foxes album quite a lot, and so today I was kind of writing like playing on an acoustic guitar. Do you know what I mean? Like, it kind of, whatever I'm listening to will influence me that week, which is an interesting writing process because I've got quite a lot of different demos now.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
And we really like it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Is that, I don't know, like, is that something you've built? I mean, by the sounds of it, you control like everything that you're doing, like visual side. So I guess it is.
Well, I worked with a photographer for all that stuff called Nick Helderman, who is very good at what he does. And there's an artist called Gregory Crudson. He does these like surreal photographs of like a normal photograph, but there's something, they all look kind of like, they make you feel a bit uneasy, and there's something like about it that is like off, you know. And he actually did one of Yola Tango's album covers, and then Nothing Turned Itself Inside Out. It's a long album name, that.
It really is.
And I kind of like fell in love with that style because like the album was about like kind of like everyday nothing, like the like little moments in everyday life, and I kind of thought it would be cool to make that come to life in a visual, you know. I've had this picture saved in my phone for years, and it was just a photo of like this really old vintage home, and it was in my head for ages that I wanted that to be the album cover. I think I originally found it on Tumblr, if I'm honest. And I wanted that to be the album cover for ages. And I was thinking, like, how can I recreate this with a photographer in London with me? And then it just kind of expanded from there, and I was looking online at like retro bungalows in London. And then I kind of found Gregory Crewdson throughout all that research. So
Yeah.
it kind of just came from that. Yeah.
All comes together in the end.
Brooke, who are you listening to at the moment?
I'm listening to a band called Loma quite a lot. They've got a new album coming out next month. My boyfriend. Don't you think it's like, isn't it so hard to say boyfriend? Isn't it?
Yeah.
Why is it so hard? But I can't say
Makes
partner.
me feel like I'm like 17.
Yeah, but partner makes me feel like it's like a business partner, or like I'm 70 years old.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, he's working with that band at the minute, so been listening to quite a lot of that, and also, as I mentioned earlier, the new Fleet Foxes album and the new Sufjan Stevens album.
Oh yes, I've been listening to that too.
Doing excellent choices. Also, I just realised. Wait, I got two last questions.
Oh yeah.
The first last question is there anything that you wish you knew before you like started this whole journey? I'm thinking about the time, like when you were saying like you'd finished uni and you're just about to kind of embark on maybe a bigger career. Is there anything you wish you knew looking back?
What, like before I even like began to have a shred of a music career? I wish. Really don't know. I'm like, it's one of those things where you learn by doing, don't you? But
it's quite an abstract question. You don't have to have a fully fledged answer.
I wish I'd just known to like put the work in through uni rather than messing about. But you can't really say that to like a young person, can you? Like who's like a 18-year-old moving to London out of her parents for the first time. But also like I wish I've never had like big expectations or anything, so that's not a thing. Like but I wish I'd known how like actually just like kind of bleak the actual business of the music world is.
Yeah.
It's like actually quite just like it's so once you like get past the like you know whenever you first start getting into the industry you're like, oh, like, they're interested and stuff like that, and it's like, no they're not. No they're not. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I just wish I'd known how like actually horrible the business world of music is. It's not horrible, it's just like once you see how like the ins and outs work, it's kind of like, oh god, it's a bit exhausting.
Like the non glamour.
Yeah, a lot of my friends who are actors and directors say exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
And when I was working at the Royal Opera House, it was again like exactly the same. You'd see these stars going on stage, and you'd kind of expect them to be the same off stage for some reason, and then they're just normal people getting ready in tiny rooms, not even being paid anything, and probably struggling for when they're finding their next job.
Yeah. But then like similarly enough, once you like get into like this like places with successful people, you then realize how horrible that part of it is as well. Like there's a lot of like condescending, and I don't know, like there's a lot of like looking down in that world, which I don't like.
Yeah, it's just not. I think it's just not glamorous, is it? Everyone thinks it's glamour, and the glamour gets old quite quickly.
Yeah,
kind of like when you first go to like a festival, maybe like as like a VIP, and you just realize like the mud's still here.
Oh yeah,
there's just more seats to sit. Like there's just fancier drinks.
Also, you know what else I would say as well? I wish I'd known. Like I wish I could tell myself how little money you actually earn on like touring. Because like I feel like that is just like that should be disclosed, you know, information, but you actually make hardly anything. You lose money by going on tour.
That's bleak.
Yeah.
That's
What's-
actually a good point.
It's all
What's the
pretty
best thing? What's the best thing that you could impart to end on a high note?
I don't know. I think I love like being in the studio and like finishing something is amazing, and just being like, wow, like being able to like listen to a body of work that you've made and just think like, and actually be proud of it. That's like a huge thing. Because like, even though it's nice, like, because even when you're working part-time jobs, I can be like, okay, but I did make this album, you know what I mean? Like, and it kind of gives you that little bit of like something. And I also just love playing as well, playing live, playing my own shows, doing the damn thing.
Yeah. Fingers crossed that comes back soon.
I know, man.
Thank you so much to the very lovely Brooke Bentham for taking the time out to come and speak to us. She's kind of a hard person to interview because she's in so many places. She's had so many interviews, so it was fun to try and think outside of the box, and I think she was a great guest. We had so much fun.
Yeah, it was just lovely to catch up with her as well, and I didn't expect the conversation to kind of take us back in such a nostalgic way. It was so nice to touch upon formative years and old playlists from Tumblr and MySpace. MSN. Loved it.
Bebo.
Brooke's always such a
All the
pleasure to
favours.
talk to. She's jokes.
She really, really is. And if you want to catch Brooke on social media, that is no longer defunct. You can find her on Instagram at Brooke Bentham, and also on Facebook at Brooke Bentham.
That's a nice and easy one.
Exactly.
No excuses.
No excuses. Keep it on repeat. Keep Brooke on repeat. Keep us on repeat.
And see you next week.
Oh my god, such good rhyme.
Yes.